Hi, welcome back. I am Rene Davila, and I am here to give you another tango lesson that Tango Brillante is preparing for this time of crisis that we're going through. Um, Thank you so very much for being here. Thank you so very much for your constant support. Um, I just confirmed today that Christian Perez and his musical partner are going to be our next guests in the virtual milonga that we're hosting every other week with live music. So that is going to be very, very exciting. This is going to happen this not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So don't miss that, please. Today, we're going to keep working what we have done so far, and I don't want you to lose what we have done. So, like usually, what happens is for a long period of time, I keep moving on forward, and at some point, I put everything together. So, today, what we're going to do is exactly that. We're going to put all these things together, and mostly for the leaders, we're going to work on the musicality of our movements. And I want you to understand this, that the musicality of our movements is going to be from the perspective of the legs, the feet of our dance part, not so much of our movements, our body, okay? I don't want you to think about too much, but I want you to use your own body as an extension of your own, I'm sorry, I want you to use the body of your dance partner as an extension of your own body. So, when you think about the musicality, is the lady, your partner, the follower, that has to arrive perfectly on the music, okay? So, before I start anything, once again, this is going to be mostly for the leaders, but everybody needs to pay attention because I'm going to still be doing both roles. So I start with, first without the sticks, I'm going to do the whole exercises that we have been doing. Even, I'm going to do even the rectangle, okay? So, side, and then back. Side. After this we did maiden dance here. Finish. Before she was entering, another time we're making the dance. Then after this we did a rebound, another rebound, and from here we did sandwich. And then we can move. Okay? Because I have to be in front of the camera, that is going to be, or probably over there is going to be the line of dancing, and in which I want you to really focus, because I have to always keep going on that side. Especially when you're dancing in the milonga. You cannot zigzag in the milonga. That is going to make things for you a little bit difficult, but also for the rest of the people, okay? So, I'm going to use the sticks now to make first to a little bit to and go in slow motion. I'm going to do syncopation, but I'm going to go beat by beat. I'm not going to do counter beats. So we start. I'm doing see, every time that she walks, she needs to deal with the music, and I am inviting her to do that. order to lead the number 5, the cross, remember, I'm going to move her with my chest. Look at my chest. I switch my weight and my chest. See how she uncrosses automatically when I lift her up. And after this, 6, 7, and 8. That was kind of like the very basic step, right? Now, I'm going to try to do it perfectly with the music. I did a little bit of syncopation there, so you can see what is happening. Let's do it once again. I want you to pay attention to the music now. In that particular exercise, what I did is, I'm making, I hope my neighbors don't get bothered, but I'm trying to go very hard on the ground with the sticks. So, the way that I am moving the sticks is the way that I'm connecting my dance partner to the music. If her feet are not moving accordingly with my lead, there is something wrong. That's when you realize, is she understanding me? Is there enough connection? Am I holding her correctly? Am I moving her correctly? Should I go a little bit slower? Why she's not understanding me? Is my embrace not working? That's when all these things work. Now, I'm going to try to do in slow motion. Pay attention, please, because I'm going to go explaining every single detail, but I want you to see the whole exercise. So, here I'm going to lead syncopation. After the last one, 4, look at my chest. 5, my chest is going first. Pause, and then here, see, the moment I'm switching my weight, I'm lifting. This is what makes this leg go upwards. Now from here, I'm going to go create a space, and I'm inviting her to use that space. And I'm going to make her go more naked. Now from here, I'm going to create the rebound, switch the direction, do you remember that? And then another switch of direction. And make her step. I go back ocho, step, forward ocho. See how at the very end I finish with my direction on that side, but I have the ability to keep moving my body a little bit more towards the line of dancing. That is what I want you to take from this lesson. This little bit of leader's technique that is like helping you with the musicality. It's helping you to think of the line of dancing. It's helping you with, you know, not only the lead in relationship with the musicality, but also the lead in thinking of the connection. Is not something that you're forcing. It has to come from the follower and from you. But if you feel that there is no connection, you have to start questioning first you, and then if she's not understanding something or she's like not following you right, go to her pace. Don't try to force anything. Okay? So let's do it one more time. Slow motion, I start explaining everything. I'm taking 3 of the basic and I'm coming back. I do the number 4, 5 is the cross. Instead of placing my feet together, I'm going to prepare myself for the directly for the molinete, and I raise my body, making her right leg go in the air. And then my torso, look how my torso goes to my other side. First, I'm going to the right, and then to my left. So I rotate her body as well. And then she's going to go slow, slow. That was a forward. This is a side. In the back, I'm going to accelerate a little bit. Bum, bum, bum. She walks here. I stop and lift my chest, creating now her left leg to be in the air. And then I'm going to go slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. This last time, as we could have done it before, I'm going to lead syncopation. See, if I'm moving my torso 90 degrees. Because she's connected with me, because her leg is in front of my torso, she follows that pattern of movement. After that, I'm going to raise her up, and here I'm going to play with the change of directions that which we played last week. First with my left foot. 1, 2, 3. Then my right foot goes forward. 1, I make a rebound. 2, I let her walk. See, I'm making her space for this left leg that she's bringing forward, and then I'm placing that foot here. Like imagine that it's kind of like a cross, but you make her step. You collect your feet, and then you're going to go into the sandwich. Back ocho. I lead with my torso. That leg, I want that leg to be behind her. She walks. Sandwich. Look where my chest is. And see how I'm going to recuperate that. She goes over my foot. I bring her once again forward. And look how I'm going to turn. 6, 7, and if you are very completely aware of where is your north, where you're going, there's never going to be that feeling that, oh wow, I'm lost. Where should I go? You're going to follow in automatically the person, the couple that is in front of you. So always have that in mind. Little things that I want you to exercise when you're doing this. For now, we're learning this as a pattern, as a routine. So what we're doing now, I'm explaining by names. First, we're doing a basic rectangle, not the basic step. It's just a rectangle. Side step, forward, forward, side step, back, back, and we're done. Now we do the basic step, but we're going to add a little bit of a syncopation there. Side, forward, 2. This would be third step. In the fourth, I am going to come back. And I'm going to bounce. I can do this maximum 3 times. Then I step my number 4 with impetu because I'm going to keep dancing here. And then I'm going to lead the cross. I lead the cross and I'm going to open in order to start leading the molinete. In this first step that my dance partner is doing, I can make her do syncopations. In order to make the syncopation happen for me and for her, I'm going to make sure that I'm connected with her and her leg is going to follow. I am moving my chest 90 degrees. Now from here, if I want to be connected with the music, I'm going to go bam. That was slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. Then here, I'm going to bring that leg that is behind her forward. I'm going to make her go a U-turn. See how I'm making the sticks go. My torso is forcing, I'm bringing that leg forward, that left leg forward. And here, I can also create the syncopation. Once again, my chest is doing that. It's helping that movement for her. And I am making her go back and forth. Maximum 3 times. Then from here, I finish my molinete. This would be the slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. Okay? Now, here again, I can make her go syncopation. And finally, I'm going to invite her to make the crossing, but I'm going to hold it there. At this point, practice a little bit. Hold it for 2 beats of the music. Bam, bam, and then you do your rebound. For now, the rebound, you can start doing beat by beat. Okay? Bam, 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 bam. I invite 2 back ochos. She moves forward. Another forward step. I pivot. And I finish. Okay? A little bit of the last part that was not very clear. We're finishing the molinete, and I am holding that leg. Right? Now, I go 1, 2. Don't forget that I need to make sure that this leg goes behind. It's in a back ocho. So I'm going to close the space here. Back ocho. Okay? And while she's going back, I am preparing my right foot to go with her. I create another syncopation. I invite her left leg to come first. And then with this leg, I let her step. I put my feet together. And I lead back ocho, back ocho. Don't forget, during the sandwich, she is in control of the movement. So she might do an embellishment. She's going to touch your foot. She's going to touch your leg. She's going to kick probably there. She's going to kick probably here. She's going to turn around. And she's done. Then you're doing the pivot, and she probably want to kick here before she walks here, and then she stops. In order to help the ladies to express themselves in that part, to learn how to express themselves, we're going to be very patient and respectful. Tango is about guys, about girls, about leaders, and about followers. So I want you to start making this conversation with your dance partner. It's not that it's all about you, it's not all about her. We're building this together. Now, let's do what the ladies have to do. I'm still going to be working with the sticks, and I want you to turn around. The lead is not coming from the legs, the lead is not coming from the lower body, it's up here. So the reason why I want you to make sure that you are aware of where the legs of the leader are is because you need to create your space for your own legs. The leader is going to give you, it's preparing the space for you, but at some moment you own that space. If you don't own that space, if you don't claim that space, nothing's going to happen, and you're going to feel like you're either too close to the leader, or you're going to be tripping with the feet of the leader or with his legs, or you're going to be hitting your knees against his knees. Don't forget that it's not only about the position of the legs, it's the position of your whole body. Your whole body needs to be aiming forward, creating the space for your legs. Here you're creating the connection, your feet are a little bit far apart to create a space, not only for you, but also for the leader, because the leader needs to be moving his feet probably in a very different way that you're moving your feet, but he needs that space. So make sure that you're providing the space for the leader. A lot of times we usually we usually hear they say, oh, there's no mistake that the ladies are making. Everything depends on the leader. Once again, I don't want you to rely on that. You own your movement, you own your steps. You're not like this shirt that is like following me everywhere without any feeling, without anything. You have to say something. You have to make sure that you're connected, that you and the leader are doing something together. It's not just the leader using your body doing things. You decide at some point if you want to go there or not. Okay? For that same reason, it's very, very important to be aware of what the leader is doing, what is his lead doing, but also what can you do provided you have space in the music and space in the physical space. Okay? So I'm going to imagine that I am dancing with a leader that has perfect rhythm. So the first exercise that we're doing is side, 1, 2, side, 1, 2. Nothing happened there. I'm just remembering the exercise that brought me here. Then I'm going to do basic step. 2, 3. In the number 4, the leader is going to make me dance. He's going to lead a very nice syncopation. After a while, he's going to lead me 4, 5. Then he's going to open the space for me to go into a moulinette. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then going to move me again to make a U-turn. Don't forget, in this U-turn, the exercise that we have practiced last week was to try to make an O. And then, see here, the leader cannot go anywhere. He's in a very complicated position. He's waiting for you. So take your time. And when you're ready to go, let him know. Like by saying, okay, I'm done. And then he's going to move you again. What I am suggesting the leader is to go slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. And again here, he's going to lead another syncopation. And then, very important, after this, he's going to lift your body up. When you feel that lifting up, the dance for your, in this case, I mean, not in this case, what I'm trying to say is most of the time your body is going to keep dancing even when there is a pause. What do I mean by that? If I just freeze after that, the leader lifts me up, let's say that after that step, it was the end of, I mean, the leader ended up in a salida, which is 6, 7, and 8. As you can tell, my position was like this. There's no movement, no step in which you're waiting like this. Keep dancing, keep caressing, keep moving, keep flowing with the music. Nobody is telling you to freeze. The gentleman is probably doing a nice pause, but I want you to keep dancing. You're in a pause, but that doesn't mean that your body is not moving, that your body, that your cells are not dancing. You have to keep dancing, okay? So let's try to do that again. I'm going to do it from the other side now so you can see what is happening. So first, nothing happens. In this the way that we are doing the grapevine, don't forget, I'm going to move a little bit so I don't kick the curtain. The way that we are doing the grapevine is forward, side, back, side, forward, right? Now, I want you to remember at this point that you have to go under your elbows. Even if I'm practicing, look how I'm going to do it. So it is imperative in order to look good for you to make that disassociation happening all the time. Boom, boom. If there is no that, if that disassociation doesn't happen, then your body is going to feel like you're collapsing, that you're being dragged. Which is not the idea. You're not being dragged. You're being invited to complete that movement. Okay? So, after, I'm going to be, imagine that this is the number 5. Let me do the molinete once again. So, you're being invited to cross. The leader opens his right side, and look how I'm not just going immediately, I'm taking my time there to do something. It's not that it has to happen this way. I'm giving you a little bit of ideas that you can put together at some point. And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After that fifth step, that's when the leader is going to change your direction. You can relax that leg, make a very nice elongation, and pivot at the same time. If the leader is going to make you, once again, we're doing the music of Ricardo Tanturi. This music invites to syncopation. So probably that's going to happen. Don't forget that you have the chance of doing a lot of things with your feet in the syncopation. But in order to do that, you require your hips to be active. If my hips are not active, I'm going to just rely on my knees. And when I do that, my axis is going to be moving too much. When I just use my hips, my axis goes very nice because it's the impact of switching my weight to the other foot is being absorbed by that hip. So here I can move the other leg freely. If I'm moving my knees, my axis at some point wobbles. And then afterwards, I finish the molinete. Forward, side, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. And probably the leader wants to do another syncopation here. He's not moving his feet, he's just moving his voice. Now, last part, which is, second part, I would say it's not last part because we have a lot to do. The leader is going to make a rebound. It's going to take you to a rebound. So instead of doing 6, 7, and 8, the leader is going to make you go rebound, forward with him. See, I'm going back and forth. But then I'm going to, immediately that he's bringing me forward, I'm going to feel his chest kind of colliding with my chest. That is an invitation for you to go behind. At that point, he's going to move his right foot, and he's going to do another forward. He's going to do another rebound. He's going to make you go forward. Don't forget that at that point, you have to switch your 1, 2, 3. Okay? So I'm going to do that part again. 1, 2, 3. And we finish that part. So in the syncopation, when you're doing this with the syncopation, I want you to try to do the following. Imagine that we're doing the number 5. So 1, 2, 3. You're going back. The leader goes with you. 1, 2, 3. 6, 7, and 8. It's a little bit confusing to explain to you what the legs of the leader are doing here. But see, if I'm not going to use the sticks, but I keep emphasizing your form, you're going to be looking a little bit like this. So I want you to flow with that movement. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? After that, something interesting is happening. The leader is not going to finish there because we're doing this as a routine. So after that, there's a back ocho happening, 2 back ochos that are going to end up in a sandwich, which is a very cool movement. Once again here, I'm going to ask you to make sure that you're using your hip joint in order to keep your whole body in movement, not stuck. So I'm going to do, imagine that we're arriving to number 5. So that is going to be 1, 2, 3. That's the first change of direction. Now the second. 1, 2, 3. And from here, the leader makes me go a teeny tiny step, and then he's going to go with me back ocho. 1. And in the second, he doesn't accompany me, but he touches my foot. I receive that message, waiting for him. He's going to place his foot on the other side, and then he's going to, see, this is locked, right? He's going to unlock for me, creating that space. I'm going to use that space as much as I can. Even from here, see, I'm in this position, I'm going to, I use that space. And do this again. And then finish 6, 7, and 8. So, all these movements that we have been doing on the floor, in the air, being able to be on just my balance in just one foot, or stretching as much as possible, trying to arrive to my elbows, they are going to make sense now, okay? If you practice this by yourself, try to learn it by heart. Try to make sure what is going to happen at some point. Once again, the first part we're doing is just a rectangle. The rectangle is side, and I'm sorry, you're starting with your right, you're doing side, 1, 2, side, 1, 2, rectangle. Basic step, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not going to do the resolution. Molinete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on one side, another 5 on the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change of direction number 1 with your right leg. 1, 2, 3. And another change of direction starting with your left leg. 1, 2, 3. And at the very end, back ocho, sandwich, and finally 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so this part, I want you to make sure that you learn as you're learning a formula in order to solve a problem. Like imagine it's physics or math, you need to know the formulas, okay? You need to understand how the formula works. This is a formula. From this formula, we're going to start solving a lot of problems that we're going to be facing in the future, okay? So now let's go and take care of the footwork. Okay. In this last part of the lesson, we're going to start with the ladies' movements, with the forward movements. And I want you to make sure I'm going to be telling you exactly what is happening, and I want you to make sure that your form is never, you never forget to take care of your form. The form is very, very important. And in the first part of the exercise, see my feet. In the first part of the exercise, what is happening is that there's nothing much that you can do other than make sure that when you're going to take the side steps, see, I'm not walking flat on my feet. First, here is my axis. I'm projecting first, and then I'm going. The same when I'm going back. First, there's a projection that is taking me back, and then I go. I'm not moving my body as a unit. I'm moving it as I go. When I'm going forward, it's a different story. When I go back, I can elongate my leg before the lead happens, or as the lead is happening. When I'm walking forward, if I feel that the leader is moving backwards for him, I need to go with my chest, okay? I cannot elongate first and then go. That would be a little bit complicated too. So, in this rectangle, all I'm worrying, all that is happening is to make sure that I am connected, that my posture is comfortable for the leader, is comfortable for me to understand what is happening, and I try to move with that energy. In the second part, when we have done the 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and side steps in between, that gets a little bit more exciting because you're going to be doing the first syncopation. Side, 3, in the number 4. Because I am wearing dance sneakers, I need to still, in order to keep my balance, I need to step with the heel, okay? In your case, because you're going to be dancing with high heels, you're not going to even feel that change of direction. I mean, that bouncing step is going to just feel like you're stepping flat on the ground and coming back. When do I know that I don't have to do that any longer? Because these are going to be sharp and short. But then, see, 4 and 5. Well, that was a very energetic 4. So I'm done, and the leader takes me to 4 step and 5th. After this, don't forget, the molinete is coming. So swing that leg. Don't just come here. Look how ugly my feet are looking. So make sure that here, all I want you to remember in the molinete is your connection of your steps and the spot under your elbow. As long as you have that, your molinete is going to be okay. If the leader is leading you syncopation here, enjoy it. Don't feel like the leader is trying to trick you. The leader is making you dance. So when that happens, and then he's going to make you do a U-turn because you need to come back, right? In this U-turn, elongate that leg, keep dancing with that leg. Take your time. There's no way that the leader is going to immediately bring you back. Let him know that you need a little bit more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you finish let's not forget that at the end of the molinete, the leader can do the syncopation again. But at the end, look how my leg, my right leg, is moving. Is dancing. It's enjoying the movement. So then, here's the first switch of direction. It's back. See how in that rebound, I'm not doing this. That's when I'm using my knees. If my hips are activated, I'm going to just go boom, boom, boom. Okay? And don't forget, once again, this is coming from the fifth position. Rebound. You feel that the leader is taking you to a side step. That's the first switch of direction. And then he's going to push you back. Rebound again, but he's going to like move his torso a little bit to his left side, making you switch your weight as well. And then he's going to open the space so you can. But that doesn't mean that everything is going to stop here. He's leading you forward, but then it's going to feel like another molinete, but you're going to the molinete and he's going to lead you into another back ocho. This is the most fun part of all, because see, here, after this, I want you to make that curl again on the floor. Raise your center. See how like I'm not moving this leg at all. I'm going to move a little bit in front of the camera. I'm going to go up. When I'm up, I'm going to lift. I'm going to lift my leg. I'm going to touch his leg with the tip of my shoe. Go down, kick forward, and I can do another of that exercise. The curl on the ground, lift my center, pulling those feet together. And then finish the exercise. As you can see from, I am not wearing fancy shoes. Dance sneakers are not as fancy as your dancing shoes that you probably wear in a milonga. But I'm trying to make sure that my feet are looking good. I'm trying to make them flexible. I'm trying to make them agile. They are not stuck in just one little form, in just one position. I'm trying to, like I'm doing with my hands right now, I'm trying to use my feet as if they would be my hands. So I don't want you to forget about that. It's very, very important for you to make sure that your feet keep dancing, your legs keep dancing, even though the gentleman found a pause in the music, you can still dance. Regarding the syncopations, you can practice to do this, counting 1, 2, 3. Counting 1, 2, 3 is always such a great exercise, whatever you're dancing. So if I start 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Although I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. But then I step and then I start counting. So actually we have 4, but I don't want you to think about the 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You walk with that other foot. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you have that count in your head all the time, when you're doing it with the music, it is going to be a lot easier. I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and remember when we were practicing this and we were not wearing shoes? Your toes need to be also grabbing the ground. Make sure that your toes are helping you to do these movements. If I leave my toes without any action, most likely is that my weight is going to end up on the outer side of my foot. I want you to make sure that you're all the time using your toes and making your ankle a lot more stronger, using the muscles in the back of your legs and on the side of your legs. If you develop that ability to do that, you're going to be dancing in a more solid way. Solid meaning that your axis is going to be all the time very strong, very prepared for any changes of weight, any changes of step, any change of directions. Tango is not a perfect dance. Sometimes we're dancing and we're going to collide with other people. We have to avoid colliding, but if the leader, for example, is taking you somewhere and he has something in his head and you're following that lead, but all of a sudden there's another couple there, so he needs to switch quickly, go with it, but your feet need to be dancing. Like a lot of times women do very nice things in their embrace with their hands like this, right? In the same way, I want you to use your feet all the time, especially when you're doing embellishments, because then the only thing that people are looking, the only visible thing of kind of like it's the mirror of what you're feeling are your feet. So if you don't move your feet correctly, the message that you're trying to send through to them of what you're feeling with the music is going to be completely distorted. So I want you to be able to send that message exactly as what you're feeling. Okay? And that cannot happen if I'm not using all the muscles that are involved in these teeny tiny exercises. For you gentlemen, our feet are covered, our feet are safe. The idea mostly for you is to be patient. When I am going, this is the first part, this is a rectangle, nothing is happening there. But when I am, for example, going to collect my feet, I want to make sure that she collects feet first. Let's say, I'm going to do the rectangle and I'm going to make her finish first, see? Bam, bam, bam. Let's say I'm going to finish it here. I deposit her foot first and then I'm going to switch my weight. I'm going to collect my feet. If I don't wait for her and I collect, probably she's still finishing and then she's going to trip in the next step. So I don't want you to, because I'm suggesting this, I don't want you to think that you have to be looking at her feet. You're feeling her whole body with your torso. So the idea is that you, by just feeling her torso, you know that in which foot she's stepping. Sometimes you can feel, I mean not sometimes, all the time you should feel if she is on both feet, if she is in just one foot. If you're not sure, I want you to try to always switch weight from one side to the other in order to make sure that she is in the right foot to keep doing whatever you have in plan. Okay? So, as I was telling the ladies, although nobody's looking at our toes, our ankles are not exposed, still there is a little bit of an ice for our feet. And I want you to remember that your heels do not have to be on the floor all the time. See, if I elongate my foot like this, it looks a lot better than just doing this. Remember that a little bit later when we're doing sandwich. But I'm going to continue doing the basic step. So I go 2, 3, in the syncopation, I want you to look at my left leg. In order to create that rebound, see, I'm using basically my toes, but I am not going to my heels. If I go too much, the lady is going to lose her balance, and she's not going to be like in this triangle that we were talking about last week. She's going to bring that foot forward, that left leg. So all the time, make sure, especially when you're bouncing behind you, that is just your toes. Your heels never come down. When you use your toes correctly, you're going to feel that the back of your knee is also very nice and elongated. And on top of that, you also have to have your hips loose. Not that we're moving the hips per se, but the knee, the joints of the hips need to be flexible, soft. So after this, this is number 4. Don't forget 5. In order to collect my feet, see, she does the 5. I know that she did the 5, and then I am collecting my feet to keep going. I cannot assume that, let's say, do this, and if I don't wait for her, probably she's like struggling where to put this leg. She didn't understand. I need to make sure to continue dancing. I need to make sure that that foot arrives where I want it. Okay? You can make a little pause here, especially if you're a beginner. Disconnect that leg in order to go to the next molinete, set of steps, and make sure that your right foot from up here, from your upper body, is going. See how I'm creating that space. I'm rotating my hips and my torso, so to create that space that she's going to be using. And here, when I'm pivoting, my heels are off the ground. She makes 5 steps, and I recover control. I pivot her. I lift my heels again in order to keep going. I let her step, make sure that she steps where I want, then collect my feet. Now after this, the first rebound is happening, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Look at my feet here. 1, 2. My left foot, I'm going to do it here. 1, 2. Look how my position is, because I am not trying to look perfectly here because I'm dancing, I'm leading. So bump, bump, bump. She arrives there, and then I have to go to the other part, to the other, I have to switch the direction to the other side. I go here, I move her a little bit, I go back, put my feet together and lift her up. So this leg is in the air. But I'm going to move her here, switch my weight, go first back ocho, pivot, second back ocho. Here, don't forget, I'm going to move a little bit like this. Organize your feet. Take your time. Nobody is urging you. When you arrive here, see how my feet are very well aligned on both sides of her imaginary foot. See, this is when I want you to make sure that you're not, if I do this, see my foot is not moving from the ground, and probably she needs a little bit of more space in order to pivot or something. So if you disconnect a little bit, you allow her to pivot more. Your foot is not going to be completely solid, grounded on the floor. This is allowing movement. So make sure that when you're doing that in the parada, right after the sandwich, your ankle is soft. You're barely touching the floor with your toes. Wait for her to keep dancing. Lead another forward ocho. Make sure that she's arriving where you want her, and finish. Now, if you really want to do something different, don't forget, I'm going to do the basic step using a lot of fancy things that we practiced before. You can tell I am making the sticks go with the music. Try to practice this first with beat by beat, and then try to do a syncopation. That means sometimes you're going to, instead of doing 1, 2, 3, you're going to be doing 1, 2, 3. Okay? Then you're going to be able to create a little bit of agility. Agility is not only to try to move your upper body a little bit faster. You're actually, when we're dancing, the magic is in our feet. We have to learn to move our feet very rapidly. So these exercises can happen in a nicer way. When you finish, and this is going to make a lot more sense when you are dancing milonga, because in milonga you really need to move a lot faster. Make sure that even when you're dancing in your house, I want you to develop the ability. I'm going to take my shoes just for a second. I want you to develop the ability that the side of your ball of your feet, when you're collecting your feet, they have to be together. See, I also, in order to develop this ability, I connect the sides of my heel. Okay? Like I said last week, imagine that this is the foot of the lady. Don't go so close that she feels trapped in your foot. Like, we don't do that kind of step. The ladies do. It's called mordida. That means to bite. When the foot is of our dance partner is like that, and we press a little bit. In this case, be very respectful. I don't want you to not to make connection. I don't want you to go like this, but I want you to connect with her, but give her air in that lead, so she feels comfortable. This is for everybody. If somebody approaches you and doesn't leave any air, most likely you're going to feel threatened and you're going to try to back up and go away. And imagine that, but 10 times, because women are always protecting themselves. So if you are too aggressive with your lead, the ladies are not going to be paying attention in her part, and they're going to be a little bit scared. The more soft, the more inviting you are, the more your movements are again enticing. It's like, let's put it this way. Imagine that you're trying to make her say yes to you, and you know how to do that. Everybody knows how. Every guy knows how to do that. So treat her like there's no other thing in the world, and that you're giving her all the time and all the attention that she deserves. That's when you're going to start feeling that something is happening. And I know that this is not something that you have heard of many instructors, but I want you to welcome the embellishments. I want you to make something of them. I want you to be playful. If you feel, for example, that the lady is doing something funny to your foot here, and she's tapping, the next time that she walks, stop her, tap her, play with it. This is like a conversation, and the embellishments are like, imagine, compare your embellishments and her embellishments as jokes that you started telling to each other. And then everything is going to get transformed. Everything is going to be a lot more enjoyable. All right, so this would be the lesson for today. Thank you so very much for stopping by. And like I said at the very beginning, we're going to have Christian Perez the next week. This week we're going to chat about everything. We're going to chat about tango. We're going to I'm going to be answering all your questions that you have about this lesson, and I'm going to be talking about music, about translations. So please join me at 7:30 today with our virtual milonga, and let's see each other. Let's connect. Unfortunately, these times virtually, but at least we can enjoy by seeing each other. Okay? Well, thank you so very much once again, and I will see you in a bit.